Hi, welcome to Kaylee's Rockin' Reviews, where you'll see me drinking tea, talking about books, and rocking in my chair. I cannot believe that it's July already. June just went by so fast, I don't even know where it went. So I see a lot of booktubers on here doing monthly wrap-up videos, and since I'm basically learning from all of you, I thought I would try one myself and see how it goes. I guess here goes nothing. So my channel is officially 1 month old now. My baby channel's all grown up. I just want to thank all of you for subscribing and liking my content so far. It means a lot to me that you're supporting me with as obviously new as I am. So I really appreciate you all. So for the month of June, I read 8 books and I listened to 3 on audiobook, which saying that now sounds like a lot, but really a lot of them were shorter books, more novella than full-length novels, which is fine. Don't ever let anyone tell you that the books you're reading don't matter as much if they're shorter than full-length novels, because that is garbage. Novellas and short stories and poetry are all just as deserving. So you read what you want to read and count them. But anyway, I want to talk about all of these books just a little bit, just to let you know what my first month on BookTube was like. I will start with the first book I read for the month and continue based on the order that I read, and I will give you my ratings for them. I started my month out listening to Interview with a Vampire at the same time as I was reading The Only Ones by Aaron Starmer. So, Interview with the Vampire was my first Anne Rice, and I have a lot of friends and coworkers who really love Anne Rice, so I was excited to dig into that. I'm not a huge fan of vampires, so I don't know why I was so excited, but I did it anyway. I ended up only giving it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, but that's fine. It was fine. Not terrible, but I wasn't that pleased with it. So the premise is basically this kid is interviewing this vampire named Louis so that he can write a book about his life. But about halfway through, it's like Anne Rice completely forgets that this is an interview, and we stop seeing this kid's reactions altogether, which was just really odd for me. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I guess it had to be an interview so that there could be, within the story, a book written. But I don't know if there was a better way that could have been done or not. That being said, I was interested enough to continue with the series, but we'll get to that a little later in the video. The Only Ones was a lot more fun for me than Interview with a Vampire, so I'm glad that I had something more fun that I was reading alongside it, so I wasn't just dragged down. And I think that's part of the reason I was able to finish Interview with a Vampire. That, and it's easier just to let an audiobook play than it is to read a book that you're not enjoying. But anyway, The Only Ones is a book that I love. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know how important it is to me. But I did give this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I have a full review of it on my channel. So if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. So the premise of this story is basically all of these kids come together for one reason or another and form a community after almost everyone else on Earth has just disappeared. And they're trying to figure out what happened to them and where they went. I'm not going to get much farther into it. If you want to know, read the book or watch my review. It is the first review that I've ever done, so it might seem a little choppy. I apologize for that. But I'm really proud that I got it out there. And I thought that for a first review, it was pretty fun. So the next thing I read was The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, which I really enjoyed. I don't have a whole lot of experience with prose poetry. I'm not even sure if I have the right terminology there. But basically a story made up of poetry. So I don't really know how to go about articulating my feelings on this, besides the fact that I just thought it was beautifully written and I just really enjoyed the content matter. So this is about this boy who is half black, half Greek Cypriot, and he's also gay, and he learns how to embrace all of these different parts of himself and find meaning in all of these different aspects of his life through drag. And it's just such a fun read, and it's quick, and it's beautiful, and I recommend it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. So next I read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I also have a video up for. This was my second review, and I thought it went more smoothly than the first one. So yay, already I'm learning. Hopefully I continue this trend. I only ended up giving this a... Okay, so in my review and on Goodreads, I gave it a 2-star rating. The reason for that is Goodreads does not go up by halves, and in my review for it, I was going by what I gave it on Goodreads. So I gave it a 2-star rating when really it's more of a 2.5. I don't know if that makes a huge difference to a lot of people, but it does to me. So 2.5. I'm pretty sure everyone at this point knows, but for those who don't, this is the prequel to the Hunger Games series, and it follows Coriolanus Snow and basically shows how he became the villain that he is in the Hunger Games trilogy. Okay, so next I listened to the sequel to Interview with a Vampire, which is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. And at the same time as I was listening to that, I was also reading the According to Mr. Rogers series. So The Vampire Lestat started off real strong for me. I was really enjoying it. Like, during the first part, we see this vampire who is the vampire from the first book's creator. We see him rising up and becoming this rock star, which is so cool, and I wanted to see so much more of that. But then this book was so disappointing because we hardly saw any of his life as a rock star. We saw everything leading up to that, which parts of were interesting, but Lestat's story is basically just all these other vampires telling him about other vampires who have told them their stories, and I just got mixed up on who was telling who what. And it was so promising, guys. It was so promising, and then it just broke my heart. I don't know if I'm going to continue the series after this. My coworkers and friends tell me that Queen of the Damned is the best one and that I need to continue. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not sure if it's worth the risk at this point. But yeah, I only gave The Vampire Lestat 2 stars just because it disappointed me so much more than Interview with the Vampire did. That's where that's sitting right now. While I was reading that, listening to, I guess, I was also reading the According to Mr. Rogers series. So these books came out after Mr. Rogers passed away, and they are just a collection of quotes from him and sayings from his show and his writings. And at the beginning of each of these, there's a sweet little foreword by Joanne Rogers about her time with Fred, and it's just so touching. And I really, really enjoyed reading these. They put such a big smile on my face. I ended up giving both Life's Journeys According to Mr. Rogers and The World According to Mr. Rogers 4-star review. And then for Many Ways to Say I Love You, I only ended up giving it a 3.5. That's not anything to do with the quality, it's just the content matter. It was still beautiful and well put together. It was just mostly about parenting, and I am not a parent, and while I was able to get some goodness out of it that warranted the 3.5 star rating, I just wasn't able to get as much out of that one as I was the other two. But it was still wonderful. My next read was All Systems Red by Martha Wells. And this follows an artificial intelligence who has learned to hack its own programming, so it has free will of its own. I had a lot of fun reading this book, but it had some pacing issues, I think. I would have really liked to be with the characters more and learn more about them, but we really don't get that with as fast-paced as this moves. But I did have fun reading it, so that's a plus there. I give this book 3 stars. So after that, I listened to Naomi Novik's His Majesty's Dragon. And while I was listening to that, I was also reading Zeta Elliott's Dragons in a Bag. I decided to listen to His Majesty's Dragon because Max at Max Reads recommended it to me. And I had so much fun listening to this book. So I have to say it was worth it. Thanks, Max. This story is set in an alternate history in which there are dragons. So everything is basically the same historically, except we have dragons now. So we get to see what the world is like with these creatures. And they're basically being militarized. And we follow an ex-naval captain who is now an aviator because he's stumbled upon this rare dragon egg and the dragon has chosen him. It was just so fun to watch the relationship between Temeraire and Lawrence grow, and it was so sweet. This was a 4-star read for me for sure. I will definitely continue the series. I just need to decide if I'm going to buy the books and wait till they get here so I can actually read them, or if I'm just going to go ahead and listen to them on audiobook. Dragons in a Bag was a weird experience for me. I thought I was going to like this book more, but here it is, Dragons in a Bag by Zeta Elliott, and this follows this young boy who meets his mother's guardian for the first time and learns that she is a witch who needs an apprentice. And this book is also really fast-paced, so much so that a lot happens in it, but it goes by so quickly, I was left with the feeling that nothing happened. just because it passed too quickly for me to process, really. It was just a lot of small things that didn't really add up to a whole lot. And I think some of it does add up in metaphor, but I don't think it was given the time and the pacing that it needed to really be effective. We hardly even see the dragons that are in this bag. I think they make 2 appearances. 2 of them have wings, 1 of them doesn't. We never figure out why or if that's important. And we're just kind of left hanging at the end. I wanted to like it a lot more. It does have some really great pictures in it, though. Let's see. I just really like this style of art. It's very cartoony, and I enjoy that. But yeah, I gave this 2 stars. So there you have it. That was all the books that I read in June. I've got my TBR shelf up there full. I don't know why, because I'm already reading a book that wasn't on the shelf. I have a hard time sticking to that. I did good in June, but I have a hard time sticking to TBRs. We'll see how I do this month. Right now, I am reading Deep by Rivers Solomon. I had not originally planned to read this month, and then I learned about it and decided that I needed to read it as soon as possible. So that's what I'm doing. I'll try and keep a little more on my TBR list after this, but we'll see where I go. I don't have a bookmark in here, but I'm about halfway through, and so far I'm really enjoying it. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite read in June was. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with my future videos. I have been trying to upload every Saturday and then, time allowing, have some bonus content throughout the week. But that hasn't been working out very well for me just because I think we get too busy on the weekends. So I'm going to flip-flop that around, and I'm going to start uploading every Wednesday and then putting some bonus content out maybe on the weekends if I'm able to. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you will join me for more videos in the future. In the meantime, stay happy, stay healthy, and rock on.